Hello, my name is Alyssa Jackson. So for this video, we're going to talk about the different types of learning theories that I use for my framework. And so according to my framework, I decided to use the standards that align with 6th through 8th grade middle language arts. And pretty much the students need to understand how can they use Greek and Latin root words in everyday language arts. And so really with each and every theory I was describing, explaining how it can align with it, we understand this. We know that behaviorism mostly focuses on rewarding and punishment for students as they are trying to make alignments with their hard work effort, to where they try to get rewarded or punishment if they do not understand what's going on or they don't even try. With cognitivism mostly focuses on observing, how we observe students as they're working, even as educators, as they are instructing and allowing the students to absorb information. Excuse me. With constructivism, that deals with collaboration. How do students work through collaboration, even with a teacher? So if a student were to be a part of a group based off how the teacher can assign them, how would they work? Would it be good? Would it be an issue? How altogether would that work in the classroom? How would they work together? What would they work on? What are some good practices? And even with connectivism deals with how can roles and obligations work to where students are understanding what they're learning at school and how can they make it connect outside of school? How can the parents be involved? And so by choosing this standard for 6th grade, middle grades language arts, I wanted to focus on how these theories can make simple yet small connections all together. So throughout this framework, I wanted to explain how a student can take home Greek and Latin root words as homework for 10% assessments, how they can work online doing Kahoot challenges or Quizlet challenges, things like that nature, to where they're practicing and based on their accommodations, because we know that every student is not on the same level. We know we're going to have some students who may be 504, SPED, may have an IEP, or even could be ESOL, and the list goes on. So it does matter that we are making accommodations for students. So even if we're learning something like this in language arts, we do want to make sure that every student is making accommodations, especially through technology, to where that one, not everyone's work is going to look the same, but we are still working on the same thing. And that's what I liked about each theory. They have ways of connecting to students, whether it's through observing them, seeing how they work, seeing how to collaborate, and how they can make real world connections. Because altogether, you have to take what's inside the school and make it work outside the school no matter what. But altogether, this is what behaviorism, connectivism, cognitivism, and constructivism works within these standards. And again, the standard is standard 6 through 8 LV2A. Deconstruct words using etymology knowledge, Greek Latin words, root words, and or affixes to determine or clarify meaning in grade level texts. So that means as long as the students are practicing giving passages, highlighting root words, Latin words, affixes, suffixes, prefixes, to where they can recognize it and they can see it outside of school, to where they're like, that's a suffix, that's a prefix. It will all make sense to them. But overall, I do thank you for your time, and thank you so much for hearing and learning about the learning theories I use for my framework. Have a blessed evening. Good night.